I'm Mary Pepino, and welcome to Fit for You, the show that teaches you how to live a healthier and more fit lifestyle. Welcome to Holiday Show 2014. It's a really fun time of year because we can give you some great gift ideas to keep you healthy and fit as you start the new year when you're really motivated and thinking about it, and things that will keep you fit throughout the year. Yesterday in USA Today, I found it very interesting and timely that there was an article that says, U.S. falls behind on exercise, gets fatter. Too many Americans are becoming unnecessarily sick. It's very interesting to me with all the information that's out there and all the gadgets that we now have, that we're still finding ourselves getting heavier, more sickly, and it's important that we get our arms around this whole situation. I'm going to be joined today by someone who I really admire and is an outstanding educator and motivator in the field of fitness, Dr. Jennifer Pintar, and hopefully you're going to walk away from the show with some ideas to really break through some of the habits that are maybe keeping you from getting out there and exercising. And if you're out there and already doing it and living it, you're going to get even a little bit more excited and find some new and different things to do. I want to wish you all a very, very happy and healthy holiday season, and I hope you enjoy the show. It is with great pleasure I can introduce to you my friend and one of the top fitness professionals probably in the world, Dr. Jennifer Pintar. Hi, Jen. And I want to make sure I get your title right because congratulations, you are now the chairperson and professor of the Human Performance and Exercise Science Department for Youngstown State University. Yes. How long have you been here?
I have been at Youngstown State for 16 years.
Tell us how you got into fitness, though, because it's a great story.
Yeah, it's a funny story. When I was in high school, I wasn't prepared for a health exam, and it was a test that we had known for about a week, and I didn't prepare for it. And over the intercom, they said, oh, if anybody wants to try out for the swim team, come on down, physicals are right now. So I got up and left, and everybody else in the class knew what I was doing. And so when I came back, it was too late to take the exam. I had to reschedule it, and everybody said, you'll never make it. And the bets started coming out, you know, of how long I would last at the swim team. And so I decided I was going to do it just because I didn't want to pay up these bets. And so I went to swim practice, and I just didn't think I was any good because I had never competitively swam before, and everybody else at high school had. And there was the first swim meet, and somebody was missing from the lane, and they didn't know who to put in, so the coach just said, Jen, you go in. And I swam the backstroke, and by the time I was done, I was so embarrassed because nobody else was around at the end. And what I thought was that I came in that badly. And then I found out that I had beat everybody by a very big distance, and I had actually come in first place. And so after that, I became a competitive swimmer, and that led me all the way to college.
And where was high school for you?
High school was Hempfield High School out in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. So close to Youngstown, about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here. And then I went to undergrad at Washington and Jefferson College in Washington, Pennsylvania, where I swam competitively. And I was a biology major. And when I went to graduate, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living. And my biology advisor said, you're into competitive swimming. You'd be great if you went and tried this exercise science. So I told my parents I wanted to go to graduate school for exercise science, and my dad said, what are you going to do, count sit-ups for the rest of your life? We had no clue what it was, and it turned into be one of the best mistakes I've ever made.
And where did you do your master's and then your PhD?
I have both my master's degrees from the University of Pittsburgh, and my doctorate is also from the University of Pittsburgh.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you came to YSU, and as a professor, and you have how many students?
Our major has over 400 students in the exercise science program.
And I know it's one, and truly, I would say it is one of their top areas in the university. If you want to major in that, this is where you want to be.
It is where you want to be, and it's one of the things that most attracted me to Youngstown State University was the curriculum. It is such a well-developed exercise science program that I believe the education we're giving our students is very similar to a master's degree program at other schools.
And now that we've been so fortunate to have President Tressel join the university, I think you're seeing a little uptick in applicants. Is that a fair statement?
It is a fair statement. We're getting a lot of students, which is so fantastic because the professors here, we are so passionate about exercise science that just give us the opportunity to talk to it about other students.
And I think he is such a great motivator and such a caring individual about making this just such a phenomenal success. It's fabulous.
And he's really into a healthy lifestyle. He makes sure that he talks about the importance of a healthy lifestyle, I think, about in every speech I've heard him give.
Yes.
So that's really good to hear.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what fitness for the holidays? What are some of your concerns? Because you see it, and through your studies and whatnot, I think one of the biggest challenges is motivating people generally.
Right.
But during the holidays, people are like, well, I'm just giving it up from Thanksgiving until Christmas. Not such a great idea.
Not such a great idea. You know, we do take a break from our everyday life. Maybe we don't go to work as often, or maybe we're not doing our normal daily items, but your health doesn't take a break. And so that's one thing we have to keep in mind, is that yes, we're going to start doing for others, maybe more for others. We might go visit other people, do some more volunteering hours. We might bake for others, but we have to keep in mind that we are important as well and make time for ourselves.
And I try to tell people, schedule your physical activity just like you would schedule a doctor's appointment.
It's so true. I think one of my coworkers says it the best. She says, you know, it's part of my job to be healthy. And yes, in exercise science, it is part of our job to be healthy and to exercise, but I think that works for everybody, because if you're not exercising and you're not a healthy individual, it's hard to be very productive at your own work.
And you have some great ideas too when you're entertaining. You know, it's not just about sitting and eating.
Right.
Give us some of your tips.
Right. Well, if we look at our children, they don't sit around and have cookies and milk. They're active, they're moving. And that's one of the things as adults we can think about too. You know, if we were to just go for a walk at the mall and instead of meet our friends for lunch out, just meet your friends for a walk at the mall. You can burn 80 calories an hour just walking through a safe environment where typically there's a place to store your coat, or there's a coat check at a local mall, and you can people watch as well. How much fun is that?
And window shop.
Window shop,
and maybe
of
do a
course.
little Christmas shopping or
Exactly.
holiday shopping.
Right. And then at the home, if we think about our parties, kids get up and move. The Wii Fit is not just for kids. Wii Fit or Xbox Connect, they're very active programs in there. So you can burn between 100 and 200 calories an hour just from engaging with a Wii Fit or an Xbox One Connect.
And tell us a little bit, because we're going to demo some other gifts later on,
Yeah.
but those are two great ones. You want to tell our viewers a little bit, just if they're not familiar, what they are?
Well, the Wii Fit and the Xbox are there's gaming consoles that you can use that actually watch your body movement. So if you stand up and move, it can track you. And the Wii Fit has some great programs, even with a scale, that you can step on and weigh in for that day. It can keep track of how much activity you've done, and it's great for stability and posture, but it's also great for if you want to do endurance activities. There's even a skiing game where you can stand on this and you can ski, or you could go bowling, and those burn calories.
Tennis, golf.
Everything, all the sports.
So much fun. And I love your idea about dancing.
Dancing,
In
yes.
between, when you're entertaining, just, you know, kind of
Yes.
dancing in between breaks between the meal and, you know,
That's
watching
what kids
TV.
do, right?
Excuse
They have
me.
fun. The kids have a great time with dancing, and if you look at just dancing, whether it's to fast music or if it's some sort of a polka dance, you can burn between 200 and 200 calories in 30 minutes. So burning a lot of calories.
The other thing, other couple things I like a Frisbee, even when it's cold outside, it gets you moving. I love a simple ball. Kick ball, throw the ball, do something with the ball. It's so easy.
And even a festive item is caroling. You'll burn 140 calories an hour just caroling with your neighbors.
Yeah, great ideas. I'm looking forward to getting into these segments where we're going to demonstrate, you know, some of the gifts for the holidays. One more question before we go to that. What do you find to be the most challenging for people, or the most challenging thing that you've been able to overcome? What advice have you given them to get people to really stay on a fitness program?
I think one of the most difficult parts is the stress. We think of holidays as a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of stress. And we have to keep everything in perspective. That yes, we do have to get those gifts purchased, we have to get the cookies baked, but we also have to keep ourselves in mind. And if we can eliminate the stress and the anxiety that goes along with the holidays, we're more likely to adhere to our exercise program.
And I think the best advice for that is schedule your day. Because I find people try to put, they're going to do 500 things in 4 hours. You can't do it.
Can't do it.
Now you're a wreck.
Right.
And you're just going in 10 directions. So no, I have 7 days a week. These are the days I'm working. These are the days my kids need me. These are the days my family needs me. This is when, this is my time that I'm going to schedule, and stick to it. Thank you. I'm looking forward to some of these fabulous gifts. So for our first holiday product, we're going to demonstrate Jump Stretch. And we have Ashland Myers joining us, who is a senior with Dr. Pintar, correct, Jen?
That's correct. She's one of our exercise science majors, and she's also a member of the track team here at YSU.
I know you're a big fan of Jump Stretch. You want to give us a little history about Jump Stretch?
Sure. I think just about anybody who's ever lived or been around the Youngstown area knows about Coach Hartzell and Carl LaRosa. This Jump Stretch band originated with them. It is the original band. And they did a lot of work with stretching. And these bands are very durable. And stretching is so important. It's probably one of the least remembered components of the 5 components of physical fitness.
Not just least remembered, even for me, if I'm unusually crunched for time,
right.
So I definitely get the cardio in, I definitely get the resistance in.
Right.
I'm like, okay, stretching can kind of like be put on the back burner.
Right, and there's a lot of benefits to stretching. One of the main benefits is to reduce your muscle cramping, muscle soreness, and decrease the risk of injury. But also when you look at all of the people that complain about low back pain throughout the year, while the research that's out there is very controversial, there's some benefits to stretching and decreasing the risk of tightness and injury because of your hamstrings or because of your hip flexors.
And I think as people are aging, it's becoming even more important as you get, into your 40s and 50s
right.
and 60s.
That's so true.
Now they've advanced what we know as the traditional Jump Stretch band. So this is state of the art, correct?
This is a pretty neat system that they have out, and it's one of their deluxe starter training packages that you can purchase real easily. And what Ashland is holding is their door jam fixture, which is really brilliant because you can easily hook on 1, 2, or as many as you want bands to it. And right here we have 3 bands hooked on. And Ashland's going to demonstrate for us some of the exercises that you can do using these bands.
Real quick, the red is a little bit thinner than the purple. We have different resistance.
You have different resistance. The red are about 15 pounds worth of resistance, while this purple one's about 50 pounds of resistance. And you can always add more and more bands to increase the amount of resistance that you're using. So if 15 pounds isn't enough, you just add another one, and now you can have 30 pounds, and you just hold on to 2 bands.
When I purchase this, do I get instructions with it? Do I get...
They have a great DVD that shows you step by step all the exercises you can do, and you'd be amazed. All the exercises that you think about doing at your local gym, you can do using this and using the bands.
I think another great feature, it's very reasonably priced.
It is.
You can throw it in a suitcase or take it for travel. It's very compact or portable. You can have one at your office. You can have one at your home. So it's nice if you have a break during lunch to do a few things.
It's so true. This deluxe starter package that comes with a DVD, comes with a door jam, and comes with these 2 red ones is only $50. So
very, very economical
reasonable.
and valuable. I'm going to let you demonstrate now what we can do with it.
Okay, Ashland, you want to show us how we're going to do the tricep press down? So what Ashland's going to do is she's going to go ahead and put this over top inside the door jamb, and there's that you can either use one of those separators or 2 like Ashland has now. And when she shuts the door, it, believe it or not, is in there, and it will not come out. So she's going to go ahead and grab the purple.
Now, how many pounds does the individual have to be? Or it will hold.
It'll hold.
It could hold a large gentleman over.
Absolutely.
300, 350 pounds?
Yes.
An individual?
My husband is a larger individual, and we do have a door that's on our pantry at home that's not quite built as sturdy as this one, and he used it the other day, and it worked out just fine.
Great.
Yeah. So when she has it over top, you'll see she's starting to perform her tricep press down, and so she can really put some pressure onto that and lean all the way down, stretch it all the way down like she would a normal weight. So she can take her tricep push down to full extension.
I'm going to have Ashland turn around a little bit, and I know it's the reverse of turn around for us, Ashland. I want the camera to see, and just kind of put that over. I know this isn't the,
so she can have her back
best
to it.
way,
Sure.
but
she's going to keep her elbows close to her side and stretch it all the way down and back up without her elbows leaving her side. And back down. So she can get a tricep extension.
And arms are such an important component of what people are focused on today,
Right.
because you see them in your clothing, you need them for strength and your functionality just for day-to-day living.
Muscular
just about every
strength is
lifestyle.
important in every single one of our muscle groups. And yes, we like to see the fancy exercises, but yes, triceps is one of those that everybody talks about in my waving when I wave.
Yes,
So,
the back of the arm.
right, exactly.
Do you want to show us a
thank you.
different one now?
So there's numerous exercises that we can do with the bands up top, but we'll show you one from the side too. So if Ashlyn just takes this whole contraption and moves the top component all the way down to the side, and I'll grab these for her. Good? Now she can turn around and she can go ahead and do some chest exercises.
This reminds me very much of like the cable pulley system where you can adjust, higher and lower.
Right. She's going to stand way out from the
cables?
door. Yes. And she's going to go ahead and do her chest presses. Now she could also turn this into a chest fly, and she can get a lot of different exercises done just with a band on the side. Now, we won't demonstrate here, but she could also take it to the bottom and do some bicep curls. She could do some rows. So your whole gym workout could be done from your door jam.
The system. Do you want to do a couple of flies for us real quick?
You can take the arms out and pull them in. And
Excellent.
Step out a little bit further from the...
And this is a great exercise. Women don't sometimes think about doing this, but it's a great exercise to strengthen that upper chest area to hold the breasts up nice and firmly. If you strengthen that muscle group, do you want to touch on that a little bit, Jen?
Well, when we look at our pectoral muscles, and obviously one of the things that we're working against all the time is gravity. So anytime you're strengthening your muscles, this does help prevent or at least slow down the effects of gravity. And one thing I would remind our viewers is that you do have to remember to breathe. So you have a constant resistance going on right now. So inhaling and exhaling and not holding that breath against a closed epiglottis. So always breathing.
Excellent. Thanks, Ashlyn. I think we're going to go on to the next one. Okay, so our next gift is the foam roller, which is like very cool and light and portable.
It is.
And what is the purpose of this, Dr. Pintar?
Well, foam rollers really became more and more popular in the recent years, and their technical term is for self-myofascial release, and really it means self-massaging. And so it's based on the concept that we have soft tissue called fascia in the connective tissues, and when you exercise quite a bit, that fascia can get very tight, very rigid. And on the other end of the spectrum, if you don't exercise at all, the fascia can also get tight. So if you're really active or you're really sedentary or you're just overuse, you can get very rigid fascia. And so the idea here is that when we use the foam roller, it's light, but it's very hard. And so when you are doing this self-massage, then it finds that trigger point. And when we use our body weight to rest against that trigger point, it starts to relax.
Cost of something like this?
It can cost anywhere from $20 for a cheaper model like what I own, all the way up to $60 for one that vibrates and gets more blood to the area, or one that has bumps on it and increases the pressure in that area.
Now I think we're going to have Ashlyn demonstrate this. Here you go.
So the first one Ashlyn's going to do for us is to show us back. And again, we talked about before how there's a lot of low back pain. You want to be careful when you're using the foam roller. You don't want to go too high because of the neck, but you also don't want to go too low. It's really not the best thing for a low back. If you do have low back pain, maybe a lacrosse ball that you use to get in that area, but a big foam roller is probably not the best thing for a low back.
And I was really impressed with this because I get so much tension, as I think a lot of people do, in their upper neck, upper back area, the trapezius area.
Right.
And then with the computers today, we're
Hunching
so often,
over.
yes, like this. So this really makes a difference. It's such an inexpensive, wonderful massage.
It is, it is. And what Ashlyn just did is she rolled on it a little bit until she found the trigger point of where it's bothering her back.
Do you want to
the
roll real
most.
quick again, Ashlyn, so we can focus on that?
So right now she's trying to figure out where she's feeling it the most, and that's considered her trigger point. So right here is obviously where she feels it the most. So for
And you know when you hit that, right?
Oh, you know when you hit it, right? So she'll sit here for about 30 to 60 seconds to let her body weight really push on that trigger point. The idea here is to increase the blood flow, but also to lessen the tightness of that trigger point so that her fascia releases, and now she's ready for exercise sooner, or she just overall feels better. It decreases the inflammation, which decreases the pain that's felt by that trigger point.
Are there other areas besides the upper shoulder area that you can do with this apparatus?
Any muscle that you have in your body you can do. One of the more common ones is the IT band. So as a runner, Ashlyn knows exactly what this feels like. So she's going to turn onto her side here, and we're going to do the upper IT band.
Do you want to explain what the IT bands are?
Well, the IT band is a muscle that you feel quite a bit when you do a lot of prolonged running or a lot of prolonged stepping. And it gets really tight from the hip down to the knee. And so she's trying to find the spot right now where she is feeling the most pain. And this is not a test of how your pain tolerance is, but it is a test of can we release that pain in the trigger point. So if it's causing too much pain, you don't want to sit there for 30 to 60 seconds. You might need to ease into it. And that's one of the nice things about foam rollers. You'll find softer ones, which this one is one of the softer foam rollers. Those are better for beginners. And when you get the harder, the molded ones, that's better for people who have been doing this for a while, that are used to it and can take a little bit more intense rolling, because it can cause quite some aggravating feeling when you're down there on those trigger points and you're wasting all your body weight on there.
Dumb question maybe. If you're a person who has difficulty getting down, not able to bend, you know, maybe elderly, maybe have some other health reasons, can you do it standing up against a wall? You
could place this up against the wall, although the whole idea is body weight and resting your body weight against it. So that factor's kind of taken out unless you're laying down on it. So it will give you some, but not as much, because the body weight's just not there.
Okay.
And that's when a massage would be good.
Excellent. Thanks, Ashlyn. Okay, now we're going to talk about something that isn't the traditional healthy and fit gift, so people think. It's the office chair. And many people will look at the ball chair and think, oh, fitness. And then they'll look at a traditional office chair and go, well, that has nothing to do with fitness. So not true. Correct, Dr. Pintar?
You're correct. And a lot of the research studies that are out there talk about it's important for us to get our 30 minutes of exercise a day. But what we're finding out is even if you get the 30 minutes of exercise in a day, also what matters is how much time you spend sitting in a chair.
And are we sitting too much today?
We're sitting way too much. As not only professionals, but also students. We sit in our chair constantly, and we only get up for little bits of time. And so when we're looking at a good gift, an office chair really is important, whether it's at home office or at the workplace.
The ball chair, let's talk about that a little bit before we demonstrate. Sure. There was some research done to talk about how good these really are.
Right.
And the gentleman that was responsible for that?
Dr. Jack Callahan. Now, he's out of a spine biomechanics group in Canada, and his research really focused on the popularity or growing popularity of a stability ball chair. And people were under the assumption that if I sit in a stability ball chair, then I have to use more of my core musculature to maintain a good posture.
And that's what caused me to order them.
Right.
This is really my chair.
That is your chair.
Yes.
And the problem with that theory is that it's just not true. They did a number of research studies, and what they found out is that there might be a slight increase in the thoracic erector spinae muscle that's up higher up in your back. Yes, up in your back. So there's a little bit more of the use of that muscle, and there's a little bit of an improvement in the pelvic tilt of your body. But when they asked the subjects after an hour of sitting in the chair, they were so uncomfortable in the chair that it really kind of outweighed all of those benefits.
Well, and you know, once I started using it, I soon realized that whether I was on this chair or an office, it was all about me, because it was just as easy for me to slump over on the ball as it was in any other chair.
It's all about the posture and how you're sitting. And the other problem with the stability ball chair too is that you tend to sink in it. So if you were to sit down on your stability ball chair here, what we would notice is that your butt would start to sink down low. And so when the buttocks are lower and there's more contact with a chair, this is going to increase the problems that you're feeling in your lower back. And so when we're looking at what's the best way around this, an office chair that fits you properly. The main
So Ashland is going to demo
Right,
for us.
Ashland's going to demonstrate for this. Now, what we have here is we have 5 contact points with the floor. Some chairs only have the 4 legs.
Now that would be the rollers and the bottom of the chair.
Right, the five
Feet.
feet that are on the chair, exactly. And that gives you more stability. The other thing that this really works for Ashland is because you can see her feet are properly placed on the floor. She has armrests that can hold her arms comfortably, and her back is completely...
Can we turn her around so we can see a side view too?
Spin her around. And her back is completely against the chair. And this puts her in the best ergonomic position possible. And if we were to look at your stability chair model, we don't have armrests.
And I'm going to sit so they can compare the two.
Now, it's not saying that all stability ball chairs are bad and that this is not a good idea. For some people who like the look of it, great, but don't choose it because you think you're going to burn more calories, because research studies have shown only about 4 additional calories per hour are burned because you're sitting on a stability ball chair versus an office chair. And 4 calories per hour really doesn't add up to much. But when you do select one, if you just like the look of it or you like the feel of it, you want to make sure the ball suits your height. So you can see for your height, that ball is perfect. You can see that the hips are above the knee or in line with it. And that's what's important you see with Ashland's as well. Her hips and her knees are in line.
I want Ashland to sit on this because now they're going to see this chair is not the appropriate height for her.
It's not appropriate. 45 centimeter chair is perfect for someone who's under 5 foot tall. But if you're going up to 5'7", between 5 foot and 5'7", you want a 55 centimeter chair. Me, I'm taller than 5'7", so I would need a chair that's at least a 65 centimeter ball size.
And I'm 5'4".
So we have to look at what size ball you have. So in this position, you see that her hips are tending to sink below her knees. And she has no place to rest her arms comfortably. So this would not be an ideal chair for Ashland.
So that's something that people really want to be careful is when they're selecting something like this.
Right. It can make all the difference. Think about when you're sitting, your back muscles are constantly activated. So even if you're not doing anything, you're sitting, your back muscles are working. So sitting constantly throughout your day is going to add pressure to those muscles. And in the long term, that can cause damage.
Let's talk about this chair too, because you are able to raise the height of the seat.
Yes.
And you cannot adjust the height. You can maybe blow up the ball a little bit bigger, but you're still limited to whatever the size of the ball is.
Right.
So I'm assuming that's a real important component. When you're looking for a good office chair, we want the feet, we want the arms, we want to be able to adjust the seat height. Do we want an adjustable, do we want a back that can go back and forward, that
You
can
want
recline?
a sturdy back, and I think that's better than one that does recline, because this sturdy back is going to keep her back in the correct position. As long as her feet can touch the floor and her back can rest fully against the chair, that is a good
He
seat
or
for her.
she. Any comment on how tall it should be, depending on, does the height of the back depend on the height of the individual? Or if you have a long trunk, a long torso?
It's just comfort at that point. It's whether your feet are touching the ground and whether your knees and your hips are in line or your hips are slightly above. The back of the chair, that's your preference.
Should we focus on that same concept too when you're thinking about sitting and eating, when you're thinking about watching television maybe, and not necessarily reclining, but maybe reading a book? We should always try to be conscientious, I'm assuming, of the same characteristics.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Ashlyn. We've talked about sitting, we've talked about getting up and moving in between during the day. One of the most informative gifts, and I am finding to be one of the most interesting to people that really weren't even thinking about fitness, are the fitness tracker bands.
Right.
Wristbands. I know we started out with the pedometers you would clip onto your waist, and they've evolved into now, what is your favorite?
And I wear this every day. This is the Vivo Fit by Garmin. This Vivo Fit is an activity tracker that also will show you red lines across the top. Mine doesn't have red lines right now, but if you've been sitting too long. So it'll start to tell you, hey, you've been sitting too long, you need to get up. And then when all the red lines are across the top, you know you've been sitting too long.
About how long, Jen, before you start to see?
About an hour.
So every hour, that's a good gauge to say, okay, if you find yourself sitting for an hour, at least get up and walk around a little bit.
Right. The recommendation is that for every hour you spend sitting, at least 15 to 20 minutes of those should be standing. Now, you don't have to walk all the time, but if you're just standing talking on the phone, or every time the mail comes in, you stand up to open up your mail, that's going to help get you from sitting too long.
I'll tell you what was most interesting when I started to wear one. 10,000 steps recommended a day. Do you want to talk about where they got the 10,000?
Sure. 10,000 steps a day is really based loosely off of the Surgeon General's recommendation that we should get 30 minutes a day of exercise on most days of the week. The 30 minutes of exercise, when you take a look at the average person's stride length, then it calculates out that every 10,000 steps is 5 miles. So that loosely generates to 30 minutes a day of activity.
And when I started wearing mine, on the days that I'm not running, I couldn't get to 5,000 steps. And I'm an active person.
Right.
I was shocked. And I know you're on a college campus. On days you're not working out, do you ever find it difficult to get in your 10?
There are many days where you sit in your office desk and you forget that you need to get up, and you look at the clock, and the next thing you've noticed, hours have passed and you haven't moved.
And you're ignoring the red line.
You're ignoring the red line, and then you look down and you say, oh my goodness, the red line. And the other nice feature about this, and the reason why I like it above others, is it gives you actual numbers. So instead of just giving a line that goes across to tell you how close you are to reaching your goal, this one tells me that so far today I've walked 3,106 steps. And then if I push the button one more time, I know how close I am to my goal. It gives me a countdown of how many steps I need to reach my daily goal.
And I think, and we're going to get into how you can connect it to your smartphone and whatnot, but when I say the most interesting, because I have given this to people, and the thing they love the most is trying to get their 10,000 steps in now. You know, if they're not, then they set, like within a month I'm going to be at 10,000. And once they get to 10, on the days they're off, they're like at night, they want to be marching in place. I got to get my 10
get that number.
So it's very motivating.
It is motivating. And the nice thing about these activity trackers, whether it's Garmin or another brand, they typically give you a goal that if you achieve it, then they give you a slightly higher goal for the next day. And if you don't achieve it, it knocks the goal down a little bit. So it's always trying to motivate you to achieve your daily goal, and it won't be the same daily goal.
And it's very stylish. So
It is.
This one has different color bands, right? Depending on your attire.
Right. So if I'm wearing this purple colored one, just because I tend to wear that one most often, and if I wanted to change it out, I could use one that maybe fits my outfit a little better and just pop it right back in. And now I have another band to wear my outfit.
Same product for men and women, correct?
Same product. VivoFit does have 2 different lengths of bands. This band you'll see in the gray style is a little bit shorter than the purple one. They have a long band and a gray band. So every time you get bands, it will come with a long one and a short one.
Let's talk about how you can put your results on your smartphone.
Right.
And you can also program things with friends and family to create a little competition, right?
Right, and that's the fun part about this. And if we take a look at my phone, so right now it does show me that I have done 3,076 steps today. It shows
now you
me the
downloaded.
distance and the calories. Right, I synced it with my phone, and then there's other opportunities here that I can. If I have you linked to me, we can see how many steps we've each taken if we want to start a friendly competition, or if I want to work with my students and say, okay, our daily goal today is so many steps, and all the students can see each other, or your walking group.
One more thing, and I don't think they all have this, and it's great. This is a heart monitor band that I'll dampen mine a little bit, but that goes right under the breast and against your skin, so it can track your heart rate when you're doing any activity, but especially for cardiovascular. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
It can. And Garmin is one of the few manufacturers that makes both the watch and the heart rate strap. And so these are meant to be together. They're actually sold in a bundle. So when you buy the bundle, it retails for about $160, but you get both, the heart rate strap and the watch. And the heart rate strap does fit tightly around your chest, and it'll tell you how active you are as far as percent heart rate max, if you've calculated that out, or what your heart rate is when you're doing your activity. So that's a very nice feature of this system. Also, the nice feature is that they're both waterproof. So if you wanted to go for a swim, you needed to take your shower with your watch on, or you just forgot to take it off, it's not a problem with the VivoFit. So they are waterproof. Now, you don't want to go scuba diving with it, but it will be waterproof for a regular swimming program.
I think it's fun, it's motivational, and you know, I like to tell people it's an investment in your health. So when you think about, you know, it's $160, but it's $160 into your health.
And not only that, if you're trying to do a weight loss program, it also tells you how many calories you've burned for the day to this point. So if you think about 3,500 calories is a pound, and you're trying to lose 1 pound a week, then you know, okay, I need to make sure that my caloric expenditure is 500 calories above what it normally is. And so you would take a look at that and say, I'm going to try and burn an extra 500 calories today, every day of the week, and that's going to equal 1 pound. Of course, you can't eat more food than you normally do because that sort of outweighs that balance of caloric deficit. But it is a nice feature on this one as well.
Great, thank you. Well, I think this might be one of the coolest gifts of 2014 and something I've never heard of until you brought it to my attention.
Yes.
And I know you love it, Jen.
I do.
It's called the Muse.
It is.
And it says the brain sensing headband. What does it do?
Well, this is something that's very close to my heart. I have worked with our Congressman Tim Ryan on mindfulness and meditation, and so it's really thrown me into that whole realm of how do we help our students and people who really want to get into a healthy lifestyle manage their stress so that they can engage in a healthy lifestyle. Because as you know, Mary, if you can't manage your stress, that healthy lifestyle is not likely to be adhered to.
Well, you know, we're finding, and that's one of the findings at the Cleveland Clinic Wellness Institute, that the number one step you have to take if you're going to think about adopting a healthier, more fit lifestyle, before you start thinking about diet and exercise and quitting smoking, whatever it is, you've got to learn to manage the stress, because that's the driver to so many of these bad habits we have.
And that's so true. And one of the things that when we're young, we are taught how to exercise, we're taught how to be physically fit, but we're not taught how to calm down. So kids are always told, calm down, and they're never told how to calm down. And so this device, albeit expensive, it currently runs at $300 for this device, it helps you program or reprogram your brain so that you can calm down.
But just like we were talking before, it's an investment in your health. And this can really be a life changer for you in the fact that it's going to be the first step into this whole, you know, healthier, physically fit lifestyle.
Right. What we know through research is that people who are highly stressed, the first thing to go is their exercise program. They don't get as satisfied from their exercise that they do engage in, and they're more likely to just skip out on them.
And I would think, too, I know the research hasn't been done because it's too new, but if you have high blood pressure and you find yourself getting upset about things and, you know, just our day-to-day life anymore, it's such a fast pace. This, I think, could play a role in probably helping people to eventually, you know, maybe even reduce medication, help, you know, with so many of little issues that we don't even think about every day.
The potential is certainly there.
Yes.
And this device has 7 brain sensing electrodes, so you can see here that there are
we
a
can
few
hold
in the
that
front,
up a little bit.
and there are a few on the side. And what we're going to do is take Ashlyn, and we are going to put this across her forehead. So what it'll do is it'll wrap right across the back of her ears. It's very comfortable.
I love it because if you can turn your head to the side, Ashlyn, it's almost like a pair of eyeglasses, exactly how you would put a pair of glasses on.
Exactly, and it's adjustable. It's completely adjustable. And when you use this in concert with your smartphone, when she puts this on and it connects with a smartphone, it will tell you if all the sensors are making the contacts that they need. And it'll show you by each sensor has a different color. So it's very color coded. And if you find out that one is not making the contact, you just simply readjust and then wait a few seconds until you see that all the colors are there.
Again, the linkage today between these products to help us live a healthier, more fit lifestyle and our smartphones.
Right. Connected by how much you walk and how much anxiety you have in your life. Right. Now, you would start off wearing this for about 3 minutes a day. You can build up to 12 minutes if you want, if that's your desire, or you can always stick with 3 minutes. But what happens now is once she puts it on, she would make sure that the contacts are being made, and then she presses a button here where it starts giving you instructions. It needs to calibrate first. So what it's going to say is, think about as many different sports as you can. And so right now Ashlyn will go through her head thinking about all these different sports she can. What it's doing is it's picking up what her brain's like when it's active, and it's calibrating to an activity level. And then it'll ask her another topic, name famous actors, and she'll start thinking about those. And then after it goes through a series of 3 questions, it says, okay, we're ready to go. Then the screen changes into a nice ocean environment, and you hear these soft, gentle waves. And if you're able to stay calm, and it instructs you to count your breaths without altering your breathing pattern, if you're able to stay calm, the waves stay calm, and you don't hear a lot of loud wind. But if you start to think about other things, the waves get louder, and it is that quick. It's instantaneous. And so what Ashlyn's looking at on the cell phone is watching where the brain activity is going. So if she stays calm, it'll stay soft, and her waves will be down low. Now, she shouldn't be looking at it while she's doing the activity. We want her eyes to be closed. But when she's done, she can look at all of her results.
And it will keep track of all the different, every day, however, do you, once a day, twice a day?
You can do it as many times as you're comfortable with. I've been doing it once a day, and it's interesting to watch my sessions change based on whether I'm at home with the children around or whether I'm at work and have stolen a few minutes to be quiet. There's a big difference in my calm level.
Do you sometimes think it could be a help for people that have a hard time getting to sleep at night?
It's very much a tool for that. People that can't calm their mind stays active not only through the day but through night, and they find their sleep very restless. And if you use a simple technique without having the headband on, then you still can put yourself to sleep a lot easier by reducing the amount of activity that's going on in your brain.
And we have found sleep to be such an important component too.
It's true.
To losing weight, maintaining a healthy weight, living a healthy and fit lifestyle. If you don't get good rest, and what we demonstrated in the prior segment, so many of these, what I'm going to call fitness bands or whatever, they can track your sleep as well, can't they?
They can track your sleep. Sometimes there's some controversy about that because people were waking up in the middle of the night seeing if they've slept enough or slept properly. And so if you take them lightly, then those activity trackers can track your sleep. But more so what you'll find with this is if you're able to calm the mind and get a good night's sleep, then it decreases your chances of the next day you being exhausted and saying, I'm just not ready to exercise today, I'm exhausted. Which that's a bad cycle that can then lead to depression because you didn't exercise what you should have, and then you don't sleep because of that depression or anxiety, and then it just is a bad cycle.
Where can we find these?
This you can find at their website. It's called choosemuse.com.
Choose, spell it?
Choose, C-H-O-O-S-E.
Okay.
Choose means select, and then muse, M-U-S-E.com. And it's a startup company. They've done a lot of research and have those articles available, and I think it's going to be a great tool in the future for even our research.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I want to thank our viewers for watching. It's been a really interesting, I think, group of products. I want to thank my dear friend Jennifer Pintar for joining us, Dr. Pintar, and Ashlyn for being our model. On behalf of us all, we want to wish you a very happy and healthy holiday season and to a fabulous 2015. Thank you for watching. I'm Mary Pepino, and this is Fit for You.